Hi, Daryl again with another little video. This one I'm going to do a little upgrade to this computer. So a few months ago I bought this computer online, this Voyo computer. I'll turn it around so you can read it. Now this is just a tiny little, you can see by the size of my hand that it's a tiny little computer. This is a 1 centimeter grid in the background here on my work table. Just to give you an idea, so this is a normal 2.5 inch hard drive out of a laptop computer, so this is just a little computer. It's a KB Lake computer, came with 4 gigabytes of RAM, and it has 2 SSDs built in. I think one is on the system on a chip or whatever built onto the motherboard, and it has 32 gigabytes built in, and it has 128 gigabytes also attached to the motherboard. Now I've moved the little feet out of the way to access the screws, but I'm going to put this hard drive in, and in order to put in the hard drive I have to put in a little header for the hard drive to connect to, and just unwrapping that off screen. So I bought this little special cable which cost $20 US, about 30 New Zealand dollars, online. This computer cost about 130, I've forgotten now, 130 US dollars? No, maybe 230 US dollars. 200 US dollars, about 300 New Zealand dollars. So as a KB Lake computer that can output 4K, it's pretty awesome. So I got it because it outputs 4K. I can use it with my 4K TV to have a really good high resolution experience for watching media. And yeah, going to go on with that upgrade now. Right, so this is one of the easiest upgrades ever, apparently. So you can see here's just the inside of the little computer. Now it's got a hard drive bracket already built in, so that's totally awesome. So hopefully I've got 2 of these hard drives. This is a older, thicker one. So this is a 1 terabyte SSHD. So this is a normal rotating hard drive with 4 gigabytes of memory built already into the computer, and that 4 gigabytes allows the machine to buffer the hard drive, so it gives a near kind of SSD speed but with the huge capacity of a rotating hard drive. Because this is a desktop computer, it doesn't matter about power consumption, which is quite often what you want SSDs for. Now may have run into a little problem already because I don't think I've got screws that are going to fit in here, and it doesn't look like this is going to just magically hover in the bracket, which no, it's not. That's going to fall straight through and touch the components on the main board there, which is not the greatest. Well, a super interesting thing just happened. I looked in my box of old computer parts to find a floppy drive to steal some screws out of, which I found these 4 screws here, which will be great for mounting that hard drive. So that's saved me a drive down to the hardware store. And the thing I thought was a floppy drive that had these screws in it was this. It's a bit dusty and dirty. Let's see if I can show you. We'll turn this around the right way so you can read it. It's actually a zip drive. It's called a zip disk. Can't remember, I haven't seen these for years. So they made these 100 megabyte sort of drives that look a bit like floppy drive. I always thought it was a floppy drive. So this is a Mac I've had for ages, an old one that someone gave me one day. They were just going to throw it in the rubbish bin, and they were like, do you want this? And so I took it. But I never used its disk drives because they looked really old and terrible. But yeah, I always just thought this was a floppy drive, and actually it's a zip drive, old and dusty, but it's an interesting relic. Maybe I'll have a play with that and see if I can get it to work one day. Great. Anyway, that was pretty dirty. So here's my new little cable. So So yeah, you need to always observe anti-static precautions. Now, so there's the SATA connector, this little connection here just by my finger, and then this thing here should just plug into it if I can work out which way around it goes. Yeah, I think the red ones are supposed to be pin 1, just going by old memory. It should go around like that.
No, well, maybe that's not right.
Okay, and that looks like it's going to work. And then this will have to fold around here and go into there, and with a bit of luck that should line up with those, so that needs to go in that way. So drop that in again just like I did before, but literally not drop it, and then get these little screws. I always hate how fiddly these tiny little things are. So, there we go, just put that in gently there. Of course it falls on the floor. This thing's going in wonky. Yeah, right. It's classic because there's no screw fitting that can fit through that angle. Oh great, they're all the same. Guaranteed to cross thread every time. That's perfect. That's I have to take the brackets off, and what a pain in the neck. Need a special little round the corner screwdriver. So it looks like I'm going to have to take out the these 6 of these screws. Taken one out already to take the bracket off. So take the bracket off, then put the hard drive into the bracket, and then put the bracket back on. Now this is looking like it might be a little bit of a problem. So the hard drive is taller than the space. So I guess the space is made for an SSD. So by the time you put the thing together, the cover's not going to go back on. So that's sort of a slight annoyance. So that's cute. So I'm going to have to go along with that original idea of, if the hard drive didn't fit, put in my backup hard drive. So I do have another spare hard drive floating around my desk somewhere. I'll find that in a minute. I've got a 500 gigabyte version that will fit the same space. So I'm glad I didn't go out and buy this drive, especially I just recycled it out of an older laptop computer that I already had. Great, so that's good. So this time the cover goes on. So I've got that new, new secondhand 500 gigabyte hard drive, also SSHD, and just line this up with the. There's a little air intake and a air outlet there, so that the air comes in, goes past the hard drive and past the CPU and all that, and comes out the other side. And so I just need to put the case screws on. Sounds like my neighbor is chainsawing something in the background, so I don't know if you can hear that in the audio, but it's always the delight. Everybody in the weekend needs to get all their gardening done, because I live in quite a green suburb, as you've probably seen from watching my other videos about the highway construction in my local area. Remember, when you're doing up the screws on a computer, don't do them up crazy tight. Some people, over tighten and ruin and stress things. And if you need to open and close your computer a couple of times, doing up the screws really tight ends up being a bit of a disservice for you. And I'm just going to put the little rubber feet back on, try and match up their little circles of glue that they've got. Hopefully they'll stay back on. Had some of these things just come off. Once you've undone them one time, they don't necessarily always go back on, so whatever. Right, that looks pretty good. So now I'm going to go and plug that thing in, and hopefully it will work. But yeah, it's quite a cool little computer for just a couple of $100. Now that I've quadrupled the storage space in there, would have been nice if I'd made it 8 times, but that's all that fits in. I guess that space is just made for an SSD, and that SSHD that I've got, I think it's a 7mm drive height. I think the other ones are 11 or 12mm drive height, so you can tell why that wouldn't fit. Okay, thanks for watching. Okay, so here's just a follow-up. So what I've got is disk management here. You might not be able to read that on a tiny little screen. But what it is that my computer has all these different volumes, and these volumes are, some of them are the SSDs in the computer, and some of them are volumes that were on the hard drive. So this computer has these 3 disks, disk 0, disk 1, and disk 2. Disk 2 says 29 gigabytes, so this is the 32 gigabyte SSD that's built onto the motherboard of the computer. And then there's the disk that we just added, that I just added, that you saw me mucking about with in the video. And the other volume, the other disk rather, is disk 0, which is the other SSD, which I think is M.2 or some other kind of add-on SSD like that. So just a little circuit board with some chips on it. So circuit board with some chips, 128 gigabytes, another 500 gigabyte hard drive, and 32 gigabyte SSD. So this one says 29 gigabytes available, 465 gigabytes, and 119 gigabytes. So there's always this thing that the actual storage capacity of some sort of storage device, whether it's a hard drive or just some chips, is reported differently by the computer because of a lot of complicated reasons that I'm sure you can find a YouTube video to explain why that is. Might just get a close-up image so you can see the names of those volumes, or maybe I won't, because it doesn't really matter. Thanks for watching anyway. Thanks for watching, and remember to like and subscribe. This is another video by Daryl. Thanks.